Well, I'm not even going to take 30 seconds for my question. I have one question and one question only. I might come back in depending on the Minister's, the Taoiseach's reply. So it's essential for companies that wish to be recognised as EU air carriers to be majority owned and controlled by EU legal or natural persons. The Commission has underlined this. So can the Taoiseach explain the position as regards Aer Lingus on the one hand and Ryanair on the other in that regard?
Yes. In relation to aviation, which of course is hugely important from an Irish perspective because we're an island, and the vast majority of, about half of people who come to Ireland by air come from the UK and British airports. So connectivity is hugely important, and the majority of people who come via the UK come via either Aer Lingus or Ryanair. So they are by far the two most important airlines for Ireland. What the EU has done in December they have provided reassurance on a temporary basis that flights from the UK into the EU can continue to happen on a point-to-point basis. In other words, from London to Paris and back again, but not from London to Paris and on to Madrid and on to Berlin, unless, of course, they are an EU carrier. At least that guarantees direct access in and out of the EU from the UK. There is also an issue in relation to safety certification at UK airports, which the Commission has said that they will extend their certification and recognition of, but only for a temporary period in the context of contingency around no deal. Where this gets complicated, of course, is that both Aer Lingus and Ryanair need to qualify in the future as EU airlines to be able to benefit from the air agreements across the EU for EU airlines, which are significantly important for their business model. I don't think it's appropriate for me to get into how Aer Lingus or Ryanair, for that matter, will actually look at restructuring or changing their ownership structures in order to qualify to be EU-owned airlines, EU-owned and or controlled. That's a matter for the companies concerned. But both companies have stated that they will have contingency plans in place should that be needed. But I think there are issues around commercial sensitivities here that I think restrict what I can say in terms of detail. But can I say to you, Mick, that both airlines are very aware of this, not just in terms of connectivity to and from Irish airports. They're both big European airlines now, and they will need to have their contingency plans ready to go, just like governments have to do, which is, I understand, what is in place.